Hi there, my name is Irene, and in this video, we're going to see how to create a multi-story building in Revit using PDF references for those respective levels. We're not going to be building it with full level of detail, so structural, architectural. We're going to be using generic geometry, so it can later be adjusted depending on the needs of the design. But that's what we're going to be doing today, so let's get to it. All right, so these are the PDF drawings that we have. As you can see, there is a basement, a main level, and a second floor. So those are the files that we're going to be working with. You can import PDFs directly into Revit, but when you want to build a multi-story building, they are not so good for creating the necessary alignment. So because of that, I'm going to first convert them into AutoCAD files, so then we can bring those into Revit, and then it will make sense why we're doing this, okay? So we're going into AutoCAD, and what we're going to be doing is we're going to start a new file. Now, the original PDFs, as you can see, are set up in Imperial. So before I import my PDFs, I like to change the units of my CAD file. So I'm going to go UN enter for units, and I'm just going to come here and change to architectural. So architectural is feet and fractional inches. Now, you may also notice that in the reference PDF, you're not really working with fractional inches. All of the inches have been rounded up. So again, I want to work with the same system in AutoCAD. So because of that, I'm going to remove any fractions. So I'm going to round it to feet and inches only. And then I'm going to click OK. And now we're going to bring in our PDF. So if you want to convert a PDF into CAD format, what you're going to do is you're going to type PDF import. And that's going to give you this option here. And click enter. And now what we're going to do is we want to load in the PDF that we're going to be converting. So to do that, I'm going to press the down arrow key, which is going to give me the option to load a file. So I'm going to say yes by pressing enter. And then I'm going to search on my folders for the necessary files. So I'm going to start with the basement. And it's going to give you this window. Now, one warning that I want to make very clear is that when converting PDFs to CAD, you have to be aware that there is a possibility for a loss of precision due to the fact that, like, AutoCAD is doing a conversion. So the lower the quality of the PDF, the more chance for inconsistency there is. There isn't much you can do about it other than requesting higher quality PDFs, but that's not always possible. So just keep that in mind. So I'm just gonna say here, okay. And this is what we get. I always like to verify that the scale is correct. So I'm going to go DI for distance, and I'm going to measure, for example, from here to here. And it is 5 feet, 8 inches. Perfect. So my drawing is up to scale. So one more thing, you know what? I'm going to leave them exactly where they are. This may or may not help me when I want to import them. What I'm talking about is the placement of the project with respect to your origin. Remember, in AutoCAD, the way that your origin works, so that's your 0, 0, is that you're usually going to work on the positive quadrant. So you're going to be working on the right upper side from where your origin is. We don't do that in Revit. In Revit, you usually work from the center of the quadrant. And then you expand in the same direction. That being said, we're probably going to have to manually move these drawings when we import them into Revit. So like, I'm not going to bother with this. Now, this is the very important part. You want to create a CAD file per PDF. So there should be a CAD file for the basement, a CAD file for the first floor, and a CAD file for the second floor. You do not want all of them to be in the same file. And this is because we're going to be importing them in different levels. So I'm just going to go here. This is it for my basement. So I'm just going to go CAD, save as, and I'm going to put it on my desktop for the time being with the name basement. Whoop, basement. All right. So because I've already saved it and I'm kind of lazy and I don't want to open and set up everything again, I'm just going to select this and delete and do the next one. So same thing, PDF import, down arrow key, enter, and I'm going to select my main floor. Okay, and there she is. Once again, I always verify my scale. I never trust that it's just going to be correct. Okay, it is the correct scale. So same thing. We're going to go CAD. We're going to go save as, and we're going to save this guy also in our desktop. And this guy is going to be my main. Okay, same thing. We're going to select, we're going to delete, and we're going to go PDF. Oops, PDF import. Down, enter, and we're going to select our second floor, and we're going to go OK. And once again, we're going to verify that the scale is correct by going DI for distance, and we're going to measure here, 8.6, perfect. So we're going to go save as one last time, and this is going to be my second. All right, so we have our 3 CAD files. That's basically all we need to do on the AutoCAD environment. Now we can go on to our Revit environment. So I'm going to start with a new project. And because we're working with Imperial in the original PDF, I will maintain that format. So I'm going to be choosing Imperial Architectural Template. Okay. A second. I'm going to move my head to the other side just so, there you go. It doesn't get in the way of my properties. Perfect. Okay, so this is what we're starting with. Now, by default, your Revit file is going to start with 2 levels, level 1 and level 2. We want 3 levels, right? Because we have the basement level, we have the main floor level, and we have the second floor level. So what I'm going to do here first is set up the levels for my corresponding floors. So I'm going to just pick any of my elevated views. And what I'm going to do here, because I already have my 0, I'm not going to be messing up with my 0 level yet. We will mess up with it later. And I'm not going to be messing up with this guy. So I'm going to leave them exactly where they are. So what I'm going to do instead is just add what would be my basement level. So that is going to be LL quick key for levels, and I'm going to be creating one here at the bottom. Don't worry about heights yet, because what's going to happen is that when we make our drawings parametric, that will take care of like adjusting our heights based on the PDF reference. So I'm going to create one level for my basement. Again, do not worry about the height now. You just want to make sure that it's beneath the 0, 0. So like it's underground. And I'm going to create one more level, which is going to be basically my roof, like the top of my second floor. So basically we'll have basement, main floor, and second floor. So now what we need to do is start bringing our CAD references. In my opinion, the easiest way to bring CAD floor plans is to their respective floor plan. So I'm going to rename my levels here quickly, just so I have an easier time finding them on my project browser. Now, if you just name them basement, main, second, roof, there's a chance that because they're in alphabetical order, they're going to get all like messed up. So one thing that I like to do when I rename my levels, at least at this stage, you can always change it afterwards, but I like to give the numbers just so they will remain in the order that I want them. So I can go, for example, minus 0, 1, basement, enter. I'm going to rename my corresponding views. Then I'm going to rename this guy 0, 0 main floor. Then yes as well. Then I'm going to go here and this is going to be 0, 1 second floor. You don't need to use these numbers. You don't even need to use numbers. This is just me. And then finally, you're going to have 0 to roof. Okay. Perfecto. So what we're going to do now is we're going to start importing our CADs in the corresponding levels. So I'm going to go to and see now how nicely they're like basement, main floor, second floor, roof. My brain has a hard time following letters, so having it this way makes it easier for me. So I'm going to go to my basement floor plan and I'm going to start importing my CADs. And I'm not going to be super concerned with the placement now because I can change that later. So I'm just going to be bringing my CAD files. So I'm going to go to insert, and you have the option to link CAD or import CAD. Remember, you will use link CAD if your CAD is a live document. That means that you're aware that there will be changes to it. If there are not going to be changes, it's just like an existing floor plan, then you can use import. So in this case, I'm going to be using import CAD. And I'm going to go to my downloads. And I'm going to find, no, sorry, to my desktop. That's where I put it. And I'm going to find my basement file. So basement to basement. I'm going to preserve the colors because they were all converted to black lines. I don't think I need to change the scale. I think that the scale should be fine. And I'm not going to worry about the positioning. So I'm going to leave it in auto. So I'm just going to go here and OK and open. Oh, right. I need to select it and open. Okay, so again, as you can see, it's a little bit off to the right and up. I'm not going to worry about that now. Only thing I'm going to do, and I always do this religiously whenever I import anything into anything, is verify the scale. So I am going to go DI, and I'm going to measure from here to here, 5/8, perfecto. We don't need to mess up with our scale. Great, so that is my basement. Now I'm going to go to my main floor, and I'm going to import again. So I'm going to go import CAD. And I'm going to select my main floor. Beautiful. I don't need to verify again now because once you know that the first one is good, the other ones will also be good. And then I'm going to go to my second floor. You can see, you can now start seeing what's going to happen when it comes to our alignment. I'm going to go here, import CAD. And we're going to go to our second floor. Okay. So this looks kind of messy, but this is actually what we need. Because basically what we need to do now is align our files before we start drawing them. Otherwise, like when we try to place them, you're going to have like inaccuracies. Now, this part can be a little bit tricky because your building is not always going to be like the same square all the way from the bottom to the top. So if you have any references, any indications, that's ideal. Otherwise, we're going to have to do it manually. So we're going to play with this a little bit. So you don't need to do anything to the basement because the basement is like, it doesn't see anything underneath it. Like the basement is at the bottom and that's it. So what I'm going to do instead is I am going to start with the main floor. If it bothers you, sorry, let me correct myself. It's bothering me the fact that it's to the right and up. So I'm going to be moving all of them manually. So to do that, you're going to select, if it doesn't bother you, then God bless. Don't move them, but it bothers me. So I'm going to select my AutoCAD. I'm going to go UP to unpin, and I'm going to move it where I want it to be. Something like that. Perfect. So now I'm going to go to my main floor. And here's the thing. In the main floor, you're not going to be able to see the infrastructure of like the basement, and you need to see it to align them. So the way that you're going to fix that is going to be on your floor plan properties. You're going to go to the extents, and you're going to find the view range. You're going to click on it. And basically what we want to do is we want to change our view depth. So by default, the view depth is attached to the associated level. So what we're going to do is we're going to change it to unlimited. And when we do that and I apply and I OK, now you can see the level underneath. So what we want to do now is just make sure that they align. Again, these parts can be a little bit tricky because in between floors, you can sometimes have different wall thickness. You can have, for example, usually your basement floor plan may be bigger because it covers more of like infrastructure. Like it's not always going to be exactly the same. So you can try to find things that are the same. So for example, if I look here, side to side to my basement and my main floor, you may notice that these stairs here are the same ones here. So it's basically like the stairs go down here, then they go down here, and then they go down here. So this is what you can do. You can try to find elements that are in common and use those to align your geometry. So that's what I'm going to do here. Sometimes it's a little bit easier, sometimes it's a little bit harder. We just have to roll with the punches. So I'm going to select my main floor plan, and I'm going to go UP. and I'm gonna move it. Now, because I'm doing precision movement, I'm not just gonna grab and drag. Instead, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go MV for move, and I'm gonna try to be as precise as possible. I'm gonna pick the corner of this wall, and I'm gonna place it on the corner of this wall. There you go. So this is what we should be getting. So again, there's going to be a difference in your wall thickness, but my understanding is that that door that you see in the basement is the same door that you're seeing in the first floor, because basically what's happening is that that door is in between those two levels. So again, you can always try to find little things that will help you align your different levels, okay? So once you have your level aligned, what you can do is you can get rid of that view range setting, because as you can see, it does make things quite messy. So once you have done your alignment, you can go back to view range and you can bring it back to its associated level, apply, okay, perfect. So now I'm going to go to my second floor, and you can see that the second floor has by default, because it's supposed to be the roof, so it already has some visibility settings. See, my associated level is actually level 1. If I go here, see, it's already doing that. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to do the same thing. I'm going to try to find an element in common that I can use to kind of like align these two elements. I'm not sure. I'm going to go UP. And first, I just want to see, yeah, you can see that they are different, but I think I can use these stairs. I just need to make sure that I am aligning them correctly. Because basically what you can see, you want to pay attention to what is the direction of the arrows. So this is telling me that the stairs are going down, 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 but they are cutting. And then those are the stairs that you see here going up, up, up. So I'm going to try to use the stairs. So I'm going to go MV. You have to do a little bit of these detective work when you're working with these kind of drawings. There you go. So I think this is, see, this is the part that like drives me a little bit insane. It may not always be 100% accurate, which like it kills me, but it is what it is. So what you can see here is that the wall of the second floor is actually thinner than the wall of the second floor, but you can see that it is aligning pretty well on the sides. And this basically just tells me that the first floor goes beyond where the first floor is. So that's good, that's fine. Again, architecture, it's not just all of them a box, that's fine. So once I have done my alignment, once again, I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna come here to my view range, and I don't want to see the level underneath. I'm going to bring it to the associated, oh no, uh, second floor, oh yes, I wanted, oh no, it is on the associated level. No, it is underlay, it's a different property. So underlay is, that's why you can see this guy grayed out instead of like solid black like we were seeing with the basement. So this guy here is telling me that the base range, so I'm seeing all the way to the main floor, but my top range is like the second. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to say that I do not want to have that like range base level. And when I do that, that guy disappears. Okay, so there you go. We have our 3 references. So now all we need to do is start drawing. So we've already been there, so I'm going to be moving a little bit fast over this. It is very important, because we are working with existing references, you want to make sure that you are accurate. So you are drawing your walls exactly the thickness that they are. You are drawing your doors, windows, everything should be exactly the thickness that it is in the reference drawing. So I'm going to come here and take some quick measurements of my existing walls. So we have this wall here. This wall here is a different thickness. Again, wall thicknesses can vary. They are not necessarily always the same, and you have to remain aware of that. See, like they can even change within the same level. God, this is super precise. I may want to round these walls a little bit. So I'm going to go units, and for my length, yeah, you can see that it's going all the way to 1/32, which is insane. So I'm going to round this up to 1/4. I'm going to round it up to like 1 inch. And then, okay, you can be as precise as you want, or not. I'm gonna, for the intent and purposes of speed, I'm going to be rounding up here. So this is 10. This guy is, I think this is also 1 feet. Oh, this one's different. So this is the part that is a little bit tricky. You have to go with the different wall thicknesses. You can't just be like, oh, I want to do my own thing. Which is why I do this like handy thing, because then I can create all of my walls and then I can just switch back and forth. So we have a 1, 2, 1, 3, 10 inch, 10 inch, and then 1/4. Okay, so with my kind of like catalog of libraries, I'm going to go WA. I'm going to be working with generic walls because I don't know what these walls are made of. I don't know if they're concrete. I don't know if they're brick. I don't know if it's metal studs, if it's wooden stud, if there's Doritos inside my wall. So I'm just going to be doing generic walls, and I can always change that afterwards. So I'm going to start with generic 8, and now I'm just going to be creating, oh, wait, I want to check, do I have 10? No, I have 12 generic. Okay, so I'm going to start creating all the different walls that I need. So I'm going to duplicate the first one, and this is going to be 1, 2, that's 14 inches. So 14 inches, generic 14 inches, edit. This guy's going to be 14 inches, 1, 2, perfect. Gonna do the next one, which is 15. So 15 inches. We're gonna go here. We're gonna go 15 inches. Perfect. Okay. We have the 10 inches. So we're gonna go duplicate. You're gonna be 10 inches. Enter, edit. You're gonna be 10 inches. Beautiful, amazing, perfect. 1, 4. 1, that's 12, that's fine. And then 1/4, we need one more wall. 1/4 is 16, 16 inches. Okay, edit, 16 inches. Grade, okay, awesome, apply, okay. Now, if we would be doing these with like actual structural walls, this would be either a foundation wall. Where is it? Not a retaining. Where is my foundation wall? Foundation wall. So I'm just bringing this up because when you're working with foundation walls, they measure from top to bottom. So if you select a foundation wall, you're going to see that your height is not height, it's depth, and it doesn't let you change it. So I just want to bring awareness to that. If you are building them directly with foundation walls, you have to make sure that like you're checking like you need to go to the first floor and then draw it down basically. But because we're going to be using generic walls go from the bottom to the top. So I'm going to be setting my constraints from basement to main floor. Okay, so I'm going to go here and we're going to start with let's start with the 10 inch because there's several of those. So I'm going to choose generic 10 inches. I'm going to be choosing my finish face interior because this is interior design and we care about the inside. If the wall later changes, I want that change to push outwards. I don't want it to push inwards. And I'm going to set up my height from the basement, which is where I am, to my main floor, okay? So with that out of the way, now I'm just gonna start drawing. So I'm gonna draw my wall, space to flip it, and then come here. So what we're gonna do is that anytime that there is a change in the wall, you're just gonna change your wall as well. So I can press escape, and I can come now here and say 13, that's the 15, so I'm going to go here, space, and I'm going to go up to here. There you go, escape. Now this one is again 10, so we're going to go here, back to 10. Is it annoying? Yes. Now imagine the person that is pouring the concrete to make this wall. Imagine their life for a second. Ooh, I can see here that there's a little bit of a variation. So you know what? I am going to skip it for now. So that means that I need to create 2 more walls here probably. But I do know that this one is 10. So I'm going to bring it here. I'm going to bring it there. I'm going to bring it here. Then this guy here is the 1 inch. So I'm going to go 1 feet, sorry. So I'm going to go 12 inches. I'm going to come here, space, bring it there. Then we have the 16. That's the big one. So escape again. We're going to go 16. And again, we're going to go here, space, bring it to the end. And then, oh, I think I need to do some alignment there. Then this narrow little guy, I think it's 10 again. Oops, I skipped. We're gonna go here, back to 10. So you're just flipping through the wall catalog because the thing is that you need to do the walls that it's saying that it is. You cannot just be like, well, I don't like it. You have to do the wall that is telling you that you have there, okay? So we're gonna switch here one more time. This one is 14 inches. And we're gonna go here and we're gonna finish it up there. So as you can see, it has built all of them. If you see a little bit of this kind of like inaccuracy, basically what you want to do is select your wall. As long as it is properly aligned on the interior side, that's what matters, because basically what this is telling me is that there is a fractional difference from here to like that little edge. So that's the whole thing. In fact, if I come here and I do two wall faces, and I measure from here to here, it's probably gonna round it up to, say, 0 because it's a fraction. So again, I'm getting this error because I'm working with like rounding up to no fractions at all. If you want to show your like fractional values, then you're gonna be able to be even more accurate. So let's do the two types that I missed. So this one, 11 inches, of course, just to make my life harder. And then this guy is what, 19 inches? Okay, so let's quickly create those two other wall types. So 11 and 19, so duplicate, 11 inches, okay, and then 11 inches, okay, and then duplicate, and then this guy's gonna be 19 inches, and we're gonna duplicate here. 19 inches. Okay, perfect. Perfect. All right, so let's do the 19 inch. And again, you are always going from the inside. That's the one rule. And I'm gonna go here and switch to my 11, 11, and we're gonna go from here to there, and there you go. So you have your full wall outline, which is what we want. Select all instances. I can delete those reference lines. And I think I'm gonna leave these walls for now. So this wall here, this wall there, you can add those later. This one, for example, here is a column. So you're going to be creating that column. And you can bring in panels and other stuff. So like I'm going to show you where to bring them. But right now, I'm only concerned with creating my exterior walls. Again, because I'm not working with fractions, because I'm rounding up, you're going to get these like little jumps. So there's two options here. One is you completely ignore it. If you're doing just interior design, it doesn't matter if the building looks wonky on the outside. As long as the inside is accurate, that's what matters for you as an interior designer. So option one, you completely ignore it. Option two, you can, if the outside matters to you, you can choose to align to the interior side. So you can go align this like this, but then be aware that you're going to have inaccuracies on your interior dimensions. You can also see these kind of like cursed thing happening with AutoCAD drawings from time to time. Ignore it. That is usually a problem of converting PDF to CAD. So we are actually correcting those imperfections. So again, it's more about the fact that there's a little gap because I rounded out my values. So if the exterior of the building is of your concern, you can do this where like you go around now and you align to your exterior line, something like that here. And then see, for example, I can see the same thing happening here. So I can, for example, choose that I'm going to align to like that. And then I'm going to align to this, and then I'm going to align to that. So that way I'm going to get like a nice smooth line on the sides instead of getting like little jags. Option three is that you can be precise. So like you can use fractions and do the actual wall thickness. That would be my recommendation because again, you want to be as accurate as possible, but I don't want to spend 3 hours doing this. This is supposed to be a short little tutorial, so I am cutting corners. You shouldn't, I do. Okay, so if you've done things correctly, if you go to your 3D view, you're gonna see something like this. See? Ooh, so pretty. Okay, so up next, I'm gonna do my main floor walls. So you may notice that I am ignoring floors and roofs and ceilings for now. I'm only doing walls. So with my basement floor done, walls done, I'm going to move on to my main floor walls. Now, one thing that I want to bring up is the fact that there is a fireplace here, which changes the wall thickness. But in the notes, you can see that the fireplace location can be moved. So I'm going to operate under the assumption that I may want to change that fireplace location, and I'm going to ignore this wall thickness. The other thing, sorry, I forgot to do, yeah, no, I did it correctly. Never mind. I'm ignoring doors and windows for the time being. So what I'm going to be doing here is I'm going to be ignoring these thickness change because I am aware that this wall thickness change is happening because of the fireplace, and we have been instructed that we may want to change that fireplace position, which will mean that this thickness will be rendered like unnecessary. The other thing that I can see just at a glance is that I think that my wall thickness here is consistent. Yep, I think it's consistent, and it is a wall that we already have. So what I'm going to be doing is this one is going to be a little bit faster. I'm just going to go WA. I'm going to choose my 10-inch wall. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure that I connect it from the main floor to the second floor. Perfect. And same thing. I'm going to start on the inside because we're working with interior face, space bar to flip it. And again, see how I'm ignoring the fireplace? That's what you want to do. And again, I'm going to ignore these like internal walls because you also can move the stairs. So what's going to happen is that they need to be on the same side, but you may change the arrangement. So you may end up not needing this wall here, which is why for the time being, I'm ignoring it. And that's it. The main floor was really easy. Again, 3D view to verify that things are looking correctly. Now, you may notice that your walls are like kind of like overlapping. So what's going to happen when we bring our floor? Well, we are going to cross that bridge when we get to it. But for now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to finish by bringing in my second floor. So I'm going to go to my walls again. Before I start drawing them, I think, yes, this is a 6-inch. And once again, I can see that it's probably 6-inch all around. Yep, because these are not structural walls. They're just holding the roof. So let's see if we have 6 inches on the generics. Yes, we do. Amazing. I don't have to create a new wall. And again, this one is going to go from the second floor to the roof. Finish face interior, and we've already been here before, space to flip it. We're just going to follow the outline, ignoring doors and windows and anything that is not wall. I'm drawing wall, only wall is being created. Once again, if you see these little inaccuracy, see, it's the cat drawing being wonky as hell, so you can ignore that. Because again, this is usually the result of, oh God, Jesus, can you see this? This is usually the result of converting a PDF to CAD. So again, ignoring interior walls for the time being, this is what you should have at the end. Nice, this is looking great. In fact, I'm gonna go here to VG, import, and I do not want to see my CAD in the 3D view. There you go. This is a little bit easier to read. You will also notice that sometimes you have inaccuracies between like the levels that connect. Now, again, these can sometimes be because of the changes in wall thickness. So for the time being, we are going to ignore them. What we're going to do now is we're going to start creating our floors and ceilings. And this is where things get interesting when you work with a single level project versus a multi-story level project. Because if you're working with a single story project, you just have a floor and you have a roof. And it's very easy because the floor gets extruded downwards and the roof gets extruded outwards. So when you're setting up your levels, you only need to account about what you care as an interior designer, which is your above finished floor, so above the bottom slab and under the top slab. But when you are doing multi-stories, what's going to happen is that your roof is going to be the slab, the floor of the second floor. So we're going to have to do a little bit of math. But don't worry, it's not that bad. We're going to see how to tackle it. So the way that I like to do this is by creating the floor in its respective level so I can follow those existing walls. So I'm going to go to my basement and I am going to be choosing the architecture floor. And I am just going to be going with generic 12. Again, why am I doing generic? Because I don't know what that floor is made of. I usually a basement floor is going to be made out of concrete, poured concrete, but like I don't know if the main floor and the second floor are wooden joinery with like a plywood on top, or if it is like maybe like steel structure. I don't know if it's like also poured concrete. It could be anything. I don't know, so I go with generic. 12 inches is pretty standard. I may choose to change it afterwards. So see like wood joist. Wood thrust with like a 12-inch joist and like carpet finish on the top. So again, I find that 12 inches is a very good thickness for like a residential slabs. So I'm just going to be keeping this. And I'm going to use my pig wall. Now, if you would be doing this for like structural or like architectural, your slabs are not perfectly going to align with the exterior side of your exterior walls. Usually what's going to happen is that they're either going to be going a little bit beyond or they're going to actually be going on the inside, because what happens is that your slab connects with the structural portion of your walls. So they actually stop somewhere inside your exterior wall, because then you have like the exterior side of your house that you see. Because we're working with generic walls, there is no structural element, so there's nothing to connect on the inside. So because of that, I am going to be attaching my walls to the exterior side of my exterior walls. If you later change your wall type to be like architectural or structural with like actual layers, that may actually shift where your slab needs to connect. Okay, but for the time being, I'm just going to be picking up the exterior side of my exterior walls. And I'm going to go here, 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 here. Just going to follow my wall outline. Okay, here, here, there. And then yes. Oh, right, I did the segments. So I'm going to delete those segments, and I'm going to delete these segments, and then I'm going to go TR, connect, connect. And then I'm going to go TR, connect, connect. And now I should be able to generate my floor. Oh, let's save the project, save the project. RDT, I'm going to put it on my desktop as like multi-story, save. Okay, and when I go to my 3D view, this is what you should see. Great. So now let's go to the main floor, and we're going to do exactly the same thing. So again, I always like to work with like the walls that go to the floor. If I need to do changes later to adjust to the whatever is happening underneath, I can do that. But what I care about is like the floor attached to the walls of that respective level. So I'm going to go floor again. Again, I'm going to keep it 12 inches. And again, I'm just going to pick up my exterior walls. Here we go, here we go, here we go, here we go. All right. And we're going to say yes. Yeah, that's perfect. Aha. So this is where things get interesting. Revit is asking me, hey, you had wall going to wall, and now you're putting a slab in between. What do you want to see happening? Do you want the walls to still go all the way to the top, or do you want the walls to stop when they reach the floor? So what I want to do is I would like the walls to go up to this floor level to attach to its button. So what you're going to do is you're going to click here to attach. And what that is going to do is that when we go to our 3D view is this. So see, my walls are still connected to the level. Like if I select the wall, it is still saying that it's going to the main floor. But what's going to happen now is that it is going to stop when it reaches the bottom of the floor instead of clipping through. So I'm going to do it again just to demonstrate what would be option 2 and like how that looks like. So if I undo my floor, let's undo that. Control Z. Okay, so if I here and I say yes, and I say don't attach, what's going to happen here is this. See, like your wall is still going all the way to the next one, and it's just ignoring the floor. And you don't want it to do that because that is going to cause clipping, and clipping is always bad. So again, what we're going to be doing here is we're going to say that we want it to attach to the bottom of the slab. Attach. Okay? Beautiful. Now, this is an interesting one. So remember how I said that I always go with like the outline of the floor? So this is one case where we can see that if we just follow this floor outline, we're going to have here, a little bit of a skylight, unintentional skylight, which we do not want. So in this case, the floor for this slab, so we have two options. Either we create the floor for this level, and then we need to create a little roof for this guy, or we're just going to make it so the floor follows the outline of the level underneath. Structurally, you would not be pouring or building two different frames. It's not like you're going to build one frame for the floor and then you build a different frame for like this little bit of roof. It would be all one structural element. So I'm going to do the same thing here. Now, one easy peasy trick is because we already have this outline, I can go to Edit Boundary. I can select my boundary, Control C, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to say attach, yeah. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my second floor and I'm going to go create my floor, and I'm just going to paste that outline that I already have. So I can go here and say align to pig level. And there is going to this level, yeah. Oh, wait, why is it not letting me? Yeah, I want it on the second floor. Escape. Can I just align to current view? There you go. That's what I wanted. There you go. See? So what this is telling me is that now this floor outline is going to perfectly align with my main floor. And I can just go yes. And same thing, we want it to attach to the level. And when we say yes, what you should get is something like this. See? So this is going to go a little bit beyond. Again, from a structural architectural standpoint, this is like highly unrealistic. Like you cannot have this. Either this guy goes a little bit beyond for waterproofing, or your wall goes a little bit beyond to like if you want to have a flat roof. Like this is not how we would run this. But because we are doing these drawings for interior design, all I care about is the fact that like my interior is accurate. So I basically have a ceiling for my main floor. And it is a single structure. I do not need it to be two different structural elements, okay? So now all we have to do is our roof. So I'm going to go to my roof level. And I cannot see anything because of course. So I'm going to say that my underlay should be my second floor. There you go. So that way I can set my outline for my roof to follow my second floor. So I'm going to go here and then I'm going to go for my roof by footprint. I'm going to uncheck slopes. I do not know if this is a slope roof or not. Usually, if it would be a slope roof, I would actually see a kind of like an overhang, an offset dash outline beyond my walls. Because slope roofs are always going to go beyond where the walls are for like waterproofing reasons. Because I don't see that, I'm going to operate under the assumption that it is a flat roof. And again, what would normally happen is that if you have a flat roof, the flat roof should stop inside the walls and then the walls go a little bit beyond. But because I'm not doing these drawings for architectural purposes, I'm doing them for interior design purposes, I'm going to be ignoring that. If later I have more information about the properties of the walls, like what are they made of, about the properties of the slabs, what are they made of, then I can change and I can make my drawings more accurate, okay? So for the time being, I'm just going to uncheck. I'm going to keep it 12 inches so it's the same as my floor, so that way it looks like nice. And I'm just going to pick my walls again. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. When I go to my 3D view, this is what you should get. Isn't she lovely? And what's going to happen now is that I am now going to start adjusting my heights because we have not touched on those yet. So if we go, I think I had the south view open. Yes. So now this is the tricky part. Because your floors are extruding downwards, they are taking height away from your level. This is why I'm not setting up my heights until after I've created my floors and my slabs, because depending on the thickness of your slab, your overall level height will change. So what I like to do here, because I don't know you, but I'm allergic to math. So I try to avoid doing math whenever possible. So if you go back to the PDFs, you're going to see that what you are getting is the ceiling height. So again, with a residential project, usually what happens is that you have your beams and joists, and then you just basically have plywood and whatever for the floor, and you have drywall on the bottom. So it's basically like your structural slab is your floor for above, and it's your ceiling for underneath. So all I care about is that the distance from the top of my floor to the bottom of my other floor has to be 8 feet 4 inches. So what I like to do here is the following. I'm going to create a new level, but I'm not going to create views for that level because this level is going to be temporary just to help me get around this. So I'm going to go here and uncheck make plan views. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to create a level that I am going to attach to the bottom of my slab. See? So I'm going to create a level here, and I'm going to create another level here. You do not need to worry about the roof or the floor of the basement because those are correct. They're extruded away from your walls, so you don't have to worry about those level heights. So I'm going to create these two guys, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to align them to the bottom of my slab. So I'm going to go AL, and I'm going to say that it doesn't matter really which one you do because we're going to be moving them regardless. What does matter is that you want to lock them. So I'm going to go here, here, and lock. And now what I can do is I can just use these distance. So like the distance from, so from this to the level to adjust my heights. So I don't have to do math. So see, now I don't have to like calculate from this level to this level, minus 12 inches, blah, blah, blah. I can just come here and say that like the distance between those two levels should be 8 feet 4 inches. And that's going to give me the overall height. So see, now I can delete the level, and you can see that the added height with the floor is 9 feet 4 inches. So again, this is just a sneaky thing that I do because I hate math. And same thing here. See, now it's giving me the overall value. I don't have to calculate it myself. My main floor, no, that's the second floor. I need to see the main. So wait, oh crap, I did the wrong one. So it was 8 feet. Whoops. Undo. I want to see the level again. There you go. So this guy is supposed to be 8. There you go. Oh, I did not cancel from the bottom. See, so if you pick this one, when you change the height, this is the guy that's going to want to move, and you don't want that guy to move. Because like this is your main level, like your main level guides everybody else. So instead, I'm going to pick my basement, and I'm going to say that this goes to 8. Beautiful. Now I no longer need this guy. So see, this guy is overall 9 feet. And now let's see the main floor. Are we on the main floor? Yes, the main floor is 8 feet 6 inches. So I'm going to come here and say that the height of this guy is going to be 8 feet 8 6. Ooh, I think it might give me an error because I'm locking it. No, okay, perfect. Oh, so it just moved that. So what I can do now is say that these two guys are 12 inches. See, so it's kind of like you're shifting everyone. Oh, remove constraints maybe. Has it moved? No. Undo. This is where it gets a little bit tricky. Let's see if we can fix this. So I think I should be able to fix this by locking these two together. Let's see if we lock them. I think remove constraints, cancel. I think it's because this guy is locked. Yes, I think it might be because I locked that guy. Yes, there you go. Silly goose me. So because I had locked it, remember, when you lock a dimension, you're telling Revit, I don't want to change that dimension. So, okay, the main floor is supposed to be 8'6". So there you go, 8 feet, 6 inches. Beautiful, no math required. I can delete this, I no longer need it. On constraint, I can delete this guy, I no longer need it. And see how it's doing the math for me? Because again, I cannot be bothered to do math myself. And finally, we're going to go to the second floor. The second floor is easy because, again, you don't have to worry. Oh, it's also giving me the height here. Interesting. Ah, good. I was not. Oh, perfect. See, so this is super interesting because this is another way that you can get around that. So these two numbers are different. This is a number that you use in architecture to indicate the height from the ground. So this is telling me that the main floor is at 0, 0. So that's what we get here. And this is telling me that this second floor, so this is actually going to, you can actually use this to calculate how thick your your structural slab is, because this is telling me that the level for the second floor is at 9, 9.5. So let's see if it is here 9. Ooh, it's a little bit higher, which then is telling me that the slab overall is higher. Interesting. So I can go, oops, I can go here and let's do this accurately. 9, 9.5. So we're gonna go here and we're gonna say 9 feet, 9.5. There you go. Again, it's showing 10 because it's rounding, but the value is the correct one. Let's see if we have the same thing in the basement. Minus 3.8, that is for this little bit here. It's not really showing me, so we're just gonna use that. So that one was fine. Now, before I fix this slab here, I'm gonna do the last one, which is the height of the roof. And for that one, we're just gonna use the ceiling height of the second floor, which is 8 feet 4 inches. 8 feet, nope, sorry, here, 8 feet 4 inches. So the interesting thing is that when we work with these kind of projects, you kind of have to work with whatever information you are given. So because of that, I'm going to go back here to LL, uncheck my plan views, and this is basically just telling me that the thickness of this slab here between the main floor and the second floor is actually thicker than 12 inches. So I can actually use my align tool again. Oh, align this here again, because again, see, like if this guy, see 8, 9, this guy needs to be thicker to maintain that overall height of the second level. So Christ, I'm gonna have to do math. I hate doing math. Calculator. If we subtract, what is the overall height? If we subtract 9 feet, 9 feet, oh God, I'm gonna have to do, let's just go with the 9 inches. 9.5 minus, my main floor has a height of 6. So we know that it's 1 feet. So 8, 9, that's a feet difference. But then we have some inches, minus 6. That is 3.5 inches. So my slab is not 12 inches, it's 15.5 inches. The joys of math. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to select this floor. I'm going to go edit type and I'm going to duplicate. And this guy's going to be 15.5. 15.5 inches. And same thing, we're going to go here to edit. And this is going to be 15.5. No, 15 feet, 15.5 inches. There you go. That's better. And then we're going to go apply and OK. And now the slab is just going to be a little bit thicker. So what should happen is that when I align this to this, what you should get is that the overall height from the level to the bottom of the slab is 8.6, which is what you have in the drawing. But then when you go to the second floor, the height overall of the level should still be 9 feet, 9.5 inches, which you can see, let's delete this guy, there. Okay, so this is how we can make our Revit multi-story building following the information of our reference CAD. And again, you're gonna get a little bit of this kind of overlapping, which again, depending on the circumstances, usually what would happen is that because this is your floor slab, it usually can go out a little bit beyond, or you actually align. Remember that we align all of these guys to the bottom. So this is one place where you could be like, okay, we're gonna actually align the walls to the floor, right? So there are different ways that you can tackle this depending on like what is the accuracy that you are concerned with, okay? And then from here, you're just going to start setting up your doors and windows. For that, it's going to behave exactly the same thing as if you're working with a single story or a multi-story, because your doors and windows are attached to your levels, not to your walls. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be doing a second video where we introduce those additional elements, doors, windows, and I'm also going to do the stairs just so you can see how those behave in Revit. But overall, that's what you're going to need. I hope you find this video helpful. And otherwise, I will see you in the next video. Thank you very much. Bye.